Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer action. We're here with big old NAKAI, oh he's so cute, and some other reptiles. We're actually facing off against Dutch Skink, and I know, I picked the reptiles against him, much to his consternation. Not really, but he's gone with Norsca here, and this build is, whoops, not fast forward, this build is a dedication more or less to Falcon. He requested that I take NAKAI here, so I've one-upped him and brought an Ark of Sotek as well. We've got a couple of Razordons, including the RORs, some Saurus, cohort of Sotek, a couple of Sacred Kroxigors here, and yeah, looks like some Javelins as well. For the Norskins, we've got a Manticore up in the air, Throg leading the way, Mammoth, a couple of Famir, pretty standard stuff to be honest, but we're going to get this nice engagement going here. Cohort of Sotek rushing in, and here come the Kroxigors. I did kind of jump in with NAKAI to force some units in, but he's going to get stepped on by this Mammoth pretty hard. That Miasma of Despair will help a bit, but so far not taking too much damage, but a nice enfeebling foe there from Dutch Skink. Famir coming in to support, and will trade very well with these Sacred Kroxigors. That being said, the Sacred Kroxigors can definitely punch back pretty hard. Definitely not pushovers by any means, but not doing too good, so we're going to go ahead and fall back, see if we can't take advantage of these missile units. Meanwhile, over here, we're able to beat down a couple of Marauders, use those jabs to good effect, and that frees up the Razordons. We're going to pull them up and around this area, start to do some damage. Skink Priest, Lore of Heavens here, just going to be throwing out those Harmonic Convergences and Wind Blasts, I believe. Yes, so should be okay there. We've got these Kroxigors just kind of standing in the periphery. These Saurus Warriors can continue to grind for quite some time, and you can see the Marauders just not really holding up very well to those Saurus. Obviously, the Marauders pretty inferior in terms of stats. I mean, their combat stats, their attack and defense is somewhat similar to the Saurus, but that weapon strength difference is massive. And check out these Razordons throwing in a ton of shots here. Great stuff. The armor-piercing damage currently going after these Famir and also Throg, and I had forgotten that they actually gave the Razordons a proper arc of fire, kind of like crossbows can shoot up and over, right? So they have a similar deal. They shoot either direct or in that kind of overhand way, but they're going to come in here and just shred these Famir. We'll be doing some friendly fire, but I'm not overly worried about it. Ark of Sotek can kind of help support that engagement there. Meanwhile, NAKAI's not doing great. Looks like he's enfeebling foe again and being beat down by Throg and the Mammoth, so a pretty bad day for him, but at the same time, he is tanking a lot of the resources for Dutch Skink, and I'm just kind of able to hold in this place long enough with these Sacred Kroxigors. They're punching with their Power Fists, they're doing damage, and although I would say Throg is the superior Monstrous Infantry Lord, oh, look at that nice little punch to the face there. That was good. That was good, NAKAI. Mostly what we need to just do is hold this thing in place so the Razordons can finish him off. We're getting some really good fire there, just absolutely devastating. And yeah, especially when multiple of those missiles connect like that, just does a ton of damage. Very, very strong. I'm very happy with where Razordons are at right now. They give Lizardmen a really nice kind of mid-range armor-piercing tool that they used to lack. They trade very well with most skirmish cav, not all, but most skirmish cav they can usually deal with. And yeah, their melee stats aren't great, but that armor certainly is helpful. 90 armor, and I mean, good armor-piercing weapon strength as well, if you can get them buffed up or use them against some kind of chaff units. But you really only want to do that in the late game. Their value definitely comes from that missile attack. Absolutely, just those barbs just cutting through the air here, shredding all these Norscan units. The Ark of Sotek, unfortunately, got a little bit ahead of itself and got caught by this unit of Famir here, these two units of Famir, but you can see that withering fire. Oh no, and the Ark of Sotek actually goes down, I believe. Nope, just shattered at this point. But we'll see. Looks like he's going to be able to squeak away there. Live to see another day. Going to throw a Harmonic Convergence on these Sacred Kroxigors here up to 61-51 with 120 weapon strength each. They can definitely punch Throg pretty good here, and you can see he's taken damage despite the fact that, you know, he was able to finish off NAKAI, I believe. I think NAKAI actually did go down here somewhere, and, yeah, the Mammoth was dealt with. Oh no, here comes NAKAI, he's still there, you can't stop him. He's coming in, paddle out, all angry, actually gets stopped up by his own Kroxigors there. That's okay. It's pretty much over anyway. We pulled out the victory there. And yeah, NAKAI, he's definitely a little bit expensive for what you get out of him, but I don't think he's terrible by any means. The Lizardmen as a faction, because they can go in a couple different directions, like I think you can do pretty interesting things. I especially like running him with the Sacred Croc scores, just number one, because it's thematic, and because number two, they definitely give him a nice kind of support unit to fight with. When they get a full surround on a monster, ideally, he can kind of tank the damage a little bit, and then these guys can do the damage in return, right? And especially his buff, his AoE buff, is very, very strong for those high weapon strength units, right? But good stuff. Bastildon somehow got an XP Chevron. I don't even know how. The Arc of Sotek there, but confirmed OP. 70 kills on the cohort of Sotek. They're really good in this matchup. Basically good against everything that Norsca can bring. You're really not going to face much missile fire, which is their main weakness. I think they get cut up pretty hard by Berserkers, I would imagine, but other than that, you could trade them into most units for Norsca pretty cost effectively, especially something like Famir, where their high model count, armor piercing, and poison just really drags down those Famir. But credit to Dutch Skink, he had his Famir where they needed to be, fighting my high value targets. Just really didn't have anything to shut down the hunting packs at the end of the day. So we were kind of talking about builds. You know, we're in voice chat as we were playing these games. And I'll just kind of tell you guys what I told him. We kind of discussed some different things. There's multiple possibilities for what you can do. And that's true of pretty much any army. But for me, I'm not the biggest fan of Throg. I think he's pretty decent in that matchup. But 70 leadership, I mean, it's okay. You're going to take a Mammoth, though. Rather than taking it separately, I would definitely recommend Wulfric. Especially in that type of a situation where you have Enfeebling Foe, you can stack that with Hunter of Champions, or alternately, because you have this for, like, NAKAI, right, you can then throw that Enfeebling Foe maybe on the Croxagors or some other high-value units. Not to mention his boat does apply Frostbite, so in a pinch you can use this to, say, slow down the Razordons and then catch them with maybe like some Berserkers or something. That's kind of janky to actually do, but you might have to in a real-world situation. As for the rest, I definitely like the Shadow Famir here. Great for debuffing dinosaurs, and definitely want to cut. The Smoke and Mirror is just not very impactful in my opinion, not really worth bringing. Melkos I might take just, I don't know, we're going to try and not need the slow of Melkos to be able to catch things. That's really the main point you would take it for. But Enfeebling Foe we're going to take, Pendulum to take out Saurus. And yeah, I'm tempted to take Withering as well, but we'll just run with the 2-spell loadout for now. Pendulum's pretty expensive, so we can just run it that way. We'll hold off on the scrolls for now. But what I was going to say is, to help chase down the Razordons, the hard counter to them is this squad right here, the Norscan Kennel, as I like to call it. They're quite good. I mean, obviously, you've got the Frostbite from the Wolves, who are fast, the Ice Wolves, and then the Beasts of Tashnar come in with anti-large. Heavy armor of the Razordons will be a little bit of a problem, but because they have such poor defensive stats, they're not going to want to stand and fight you, certainly. And even if you can just get them bogged up and do a bunch of damage, that honestly might be enough to pay for these guys. I mean, they are cheaper, right, than Razordons. So if we go ahead and have a look here, Razordons are, yeah, the Regiment of Renown is 1,200, 900 base cost. So you're trading very cost efficiently with these two units, and again, pushing them away. The Lizardmen don't have very many fast units that can respond to Hounds very well. So if you play your cards right and micro them well, you should be able to get a good opening, catch these guys at some point. Yeah, so from there, I like the pick of Marauders here. I'm going to go a little bit lighter and take 4. The 2 Famir Great Weapons, I'm going to change one of them for the Miststalkers, just because, although they will hit slightly less hard because of that lack of anti-large, they have very good melee attack, and especially the melee defense actually matters a lot here. So we're going to take that. Because they cause terror, I don't really think I need the Manticore necessarily. Would be nice to have, certainly. But I think I might instead just come in here and grab 2 champions instead. Just to help trade against Saurus. Or you could, you know, take like 3 Berserkers and then reallocate some of these other funds somewhere. Maybe take like the Brutes the Hound, or You could even grab like a single unit of champion great weapons. These guys recently got a buff. They still don't have very good melee attack, to be honest, for this unit in this price range. But if you keep them near Wolfric, try and make sure you get that fight or die buff to get their melee attack up. Or alternately, of course, you can throw this Enfeebling Foe on whatever they're fighting. But just generally, having that higher weapon strength now makes them a little bit better, I think, in this matchup. A little bit more impactful, potentially. And, I mean, you've got tools to chase down skink skirmishers, you've got tools to deal with the big dinos, you've got tools to deal with Saurus and other infantry, right? Like the Berserkers, as I mentioned, will trade well into Red Crest. So something like this might work potentially pretty well. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, though. I know Norsca is not a faction that a ton of people play, but personally it's a faction that I think is really fun to play, and they are definitely a very strong faction as well. Lizardmen, of course, are many people's favorites, and I don't play them as much as I should, but I think I'll be playing them more going forward. I'm definitely liking the Razordon play right now, so hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.